Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me by myself today, Scotty, here in the studio, which is my house. 3:01 p.m. I'm actually 1 minute late. I apologize for that. I know you guys have been all over the world on the edge of your seats, just waiting for me to come on here. So I appreciate whoever is tuning in with me. My co-host Sean B is not around today. He has other more important things to do, like he has a real job and stuff like that. But I'm kind of just here because Wednesday is my kind of like half a day off, so I just hang out and I think of stupid things to come on here and say on a podcast. Matter of fact, as long as Sean's not here, let's get some music going in the background because he hates this kind of stuff. Ooh. So there's some nice relaxing music going on in the background. Classical music makes me feel very classy. Talking today about a few things going on in the world or in the country today. Actually, a few interesting things. Now, I'm kind of freestyling. Whoa, am I still good? Sorry. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. My mic cord just came out. That just made me deaf. It sounded like an explosion in my ears. So just thinking today about some of the things we have going on in the news, and I'm kind of on here freestyling without a real plan, so we're just going to sift through some things and have some random thoughts, talk about some random thoughts that have been going through my mind throughout the day. So first on the docket, case number one, we have, just in case you have not heard, Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington. Who knows what's going on out there? Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington. Well, let's give you a little backstory on Evergreen State College. Apparently, Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington is its own special kind of little liberal arts college. So in one way, it is a public liberal arts college, which is, I guess it's pretty rare. I didn't know this. In case I haven't like let the cat out of the bag inadvertently, I'm not a college person. I don't know if you could tell by the way I talk or the things I say, but I have not gone to college. I'm not a college graduate. I don't know how these things kind of work. So, by the way, if you are watching on Facebook and you want to hop in the chat room and say something and ask a question or say a little comment, you are more than welcome to do so. I will try to respond, and maybe we could have other things to talk about, other updates. If I get something wrong, if I get something right, and you want to pat me on the back, please go ahead. You're more than welcome to. So, Evergreen State College is a public liberal arts college. And you know the reason why we go to liberal arts colleges. Liberal arts colleges are great for making young people into baristas, waitresses, librarians, things like that. Activists, protesters. We're good at making all that kind of stuff. So, what has been happening at this liberal arts college, which has also been happening at the most liberal schools all throughout the country. For some reason, we're supposed to believe that all of these extremely liberal, regressive, progressive, white guilt-driven schools are the most racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic places in the country. So for some reason, please someone explain this to me if you can. I don't know how this is supposed to be a thing, but for some crazy reason, all of these extremely liberal colleges are these hotbeds of racism. So here's what I mean. And I mean like terrible, horrible acts of racism, like not having enough teachers of color. Really atrocious shit, like having a not very large percentage of minority students on campus. Just terrible atrocities that are crimes against humanity, such as not treating Black and Hispanic students specially. These are things that we are actually having protests. These are things that people are actually having protests about on college campuses all over America. So specifically at Evergreen State College, let's talk about this real quick. What we had in the last week was, I guess every year at this college, they have something called the Day of Absence / Day of Presence. All right. And what happens is that all students of color, which, by the way, side note, this whole people of color, students of color, professors of color thing, this has to go. I don't know what this term is supposed to be. I don't see how it's different than saying colored people. I think it's pretty crazy. It's just ridiculous. Let's just stop. Can we just say like black and Hispanic? Can we say black? Can we say black and brown? Whatever. I don't know. I mean, it's like it's interchangeable. People say black and brown, and then they say students of color, and then they say minorities, and it's like, which word are we supposed to use now? I can't keep up. I really can't, and I want to. I want to try. I'm really trying, but I cannot keep up. Anyway, so they all want to say students of color, so we'll say students of color. So all the students of color voluntarily leave campus as a demonstration of their worth to the campus. Now, if you can imagine, on a college campus, I would imagine that a college campus does not come grinding to a halt when all of the black and Hispanic students leave campus, and Indian and Asian and brown and yellow and purple and all that stuff, right? I would imagine that it does not just come to a screeching halt, and that the daily kind of grind is able to keep going. But that's the kind of thing that they're trying to push with this idea of the day of absence / day of presence. So what they have is all the students of color, whoever wants to, they leave campus, they don't attend class, they don't get penalized for it, and then they have kind of these events and meetings about racism on campus and all this kind of stuff. That goes on all throughout the day. Now, this year was a little different. Okay? This year, 2017, what they decided to do was, instead of all students of color leaving campus, they told all of the white people to leave campus. Okay? So instead of this being, you know what, our group is going to leave in protest, what they say is, we're going to kick your group out in protest. All right? Now, this is something completely different. So now we have a professor, Eric, whoa, did I just mess up his name? Jesus Christ, I am having a complete blank. Weinstein. Okay? Weinstein. I think Eric was his brother. Fuck, I just fucked this up bad. Let me just get on you real quick and just look this up, okay? It was Brett. Sorry, it was Brett. Eric was his brother. That's another famous guy. So Professor Weinstein, who is a Jewish guy, in case you haven't noticed, wrote like the most timid, neutral, unprovoking, professional, unthreatening email to the faculty member who was kind of saying that this is what we're going to do this year about all white people going to leave campus. So what Brett Weinstein wrote in his email was, actually, matter of fact, I have it right here. So we are going to, where's this letter? Let me scroll up real quick. And let me switch it over just in case you're watching. We have, I have it up on the screen here. Boom. So I'm going to read this out loud. Here we go. It goes, Dear Rashida, who was the faculty member who brought this up in the meeting. Dear Rashida, when you first described the new structure for day of absence, day of presence, at a past faculty meeting, where no room was left for questions, I'm sure she did it on purpose, I thought I must have misunderstood what you said. Later emails seemed to muddy the waters further, while inviting commitments to participate. I now see from the bold-faced text in this email that I had indeed understood your words correctly. There is a huge difference between a group or a coalition deciding to voluntarily absent themselves from a shared space in order to highlight their vital and underappreciated roles, which is the theme for the Douglas Turner Award play Day of Absence, which is where they got this idea from for the Day of Absence, and a group or coalition encouraging another group to go away. The first is a forceful call to consciousness, which is, of course, crippling to the logic of oppression. The second is a show of force and an act of oppression in and of itself. You may take this letter as a formal protest. Whoa, I just lost my place. Sorry about that. You may take this letter as a formal protest of this year's structure, and you may assume I will be on campus on the day of absence. I would encourage others to put phenotype aside and reject this new formulation, whether they have registered for it already or not. On a college campus, one's right to speak or to be must never be based on skin color. If there was interest in a public presentation and discussion of race through a scientific, evolutionary lens, I would be willing to organize such an event. It is material I might have taught on my own programs and guest lectured on at Evergreen and elsewhere. I'm sorry, this is really small. I'm trying to read this. Everyone would be equally welcome and encouraged to attend such a forum, irrespective of ethnicity, belief structure, native language, political leanings, or position at the college. My only requirement would be that people attend with an open mind and a willingness to act in good faith. An open mind is something that we are not allowed to have going on here in college campuses, right? I mean, come on, Brett Weinstein, you know this. You know this. This isn't something we're allowed to have going on here in college campuses. Open minds. You're a fucking professor. You should know this shit. So Brett Weinstein he was on Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson interviewed him on his show on Fox News. And Brett Weinstein was talking about how he is a deeply progressive person, as is most people who work at his school and go to his school. It is a extremely progressive school, and for some reason, and I'll explain you in a minute my theory. The reason why all of these deeply progressive schools are the places where this shit is allowed to happen. Okay, it's because they are the ones that will allow it to happen, right? They are the ones that will say, I'll give you whatever you want as long as you don't call me a racist. Please, 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 I'm sorry for something that happened hundreds of years ago that I had nothing to do with. I'm going to whip myself on the back until you tell me I can stop. I'm not worthy. Get on my knees and bow, and I'll give you whatever you want as long as you don't call me a racist, please. And then these fucking little pussies that go out there and start yelling and screaming at these teachers and trying to take over the campus, they do this because they know they'll get away with it. There's a reason why these things don't happen in not regressive leftist colleges. Now, I guess I should have talked about what did happen before I went on that little tangent. So what did happen was, after that extremely timid letter, right, which was very professionally written and very respectable, I guess it got sent out to a couple students because it got sent out to the whole staff and faculty. And some students were on staff, so that's how it kind of went public. Now, these students immediately started they were on a rampage for this guy's head. I mean, there was a point where the university police had told him that he can't be on campus because they can't guarantee his safety. Right? So they're calling for him to be fired. They're calling for him to resign, calling him a white supremacist, racist, whatever other fucking ist you want to put in there, white supremacist and everything, saying he's targeting black and brown bodies. See, that's their thing. They don't even call themselves people. They call themselves bodies. And I'm going to show you a video where you're going to hear that term quite a few times. They call themselves black bodies. And you're supposed to call them people of color. That's the one thing I don't understand. So now, according to these people, these students, I don't mean these people, you know what the fuck I meant, get over it. According to these students at Evergreen State College, they are under a constant threat of death. Constant threat of death. At one of the most progressive, inclusive schools in the country. They have a 98.6 acceptance rate or something like that, with a $6,000 a year tuition for Washington State residents. Now, you can imagine the caliber of student that is at this school if they have a 98% acceptance rate with a $6,000 a year tuition. It might be the kind of student who can't fend for themselves and can't just compete in the real world and has to just beg and demand they be handed everything. It might be that kind of place. That might be where the problem lies. You never know. I would be interested to look deeper into that. So we have this video here of these students and the things that have been going on this campus ever since that day that Professor Weinstein refused to leave the campus. Okay? And you know what? I just saw that there is a new video up on here. I'm not sure how new it is, but maybe we'll check that out too. So everybody from the Professor Weinstein to the college police, to the campus police, to the president of the college were effectively being held hostage in a room where they were being berated and yelled at and threatened with violence. if they didn't stop this stuff, or if they didn't quit their jobs, or if they didn't fire somebody. So I just want you to see this video. It was a video that went viral, and it's showing all of the things that was happening. You know, the ridiculous, freakish actions that the students were taking in protest to this day of absence that was not participated by Professor Weinstein. So check this out real quick, and boom. Now, the thing about this video that was the problem is that these students, okay, the students of this school got mad that this video was seen by the public, right? They were mad that this video was being shown all over the country. They weren't mad that, they weren't embarrassed of their actions, right? They were mad at the people who made their actions public. So let's see this real quick. Check it out.
Ho, ho! These racist teachers have got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These racist teachers have got to go! Hey, hey! Teachers have got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These racist teachers have got to go! Hey, hey!
Having her cornered
These racist teachers have got
for being probably the most progressive white guilt professor there is. That's the president. George. They call him George.
Fuck you and fuck the police!
Suggest that you take under heavily consideration those that oppose the training and
That's how whiteness works. Whiteness is the most violent fucking system to ever breathe.
I want to cry. I can't tell you how fast my heart is beating right now. I'm shaking in my boots.
Because you're a pussy. Look at this. So that's outside his office where there's watching him through the window. And they're out there twerking and shit.
You're not listening. In your head, if you're thinking of a response while somebody is talking, that is not listening. You need to listen. And to be honest with you, I don't even expect you to even say anything to me because I know actions speak louder than words. My mama didn't raise no fool.
I'm giggling and laughing every time we say something. Control it.
I wouldn't be able to keep a straight face if I was up there. I would be laughing in these kids' faces.
It's not an accident that all of our administration is white.
Right.
It's not an accident. That shit is systematic as fuck. So what we said over here.
I said, I'm tired of white people talking about what black and brown people need. You don't know.
How about you need to go to class, you little bitch? How about that?
Good for you.
How about you go to class?
You're not. You're not oppressed. Okay,
Okay, real quick. I just want to mention one thing. So this was these are all clips from longer videos. Now, me being the obsessive compulsive, probably kind of autistic person that I am, I sat through every single one of these videos full length, and I just watched, and if I missed a part, I rewound it. So that part right there where she goes, okay, sis, you're not oppressed, whatever, that was because one black student, a woman, dared to get up and say, you know, we're not oppressed, everyone needs to chill, okay? She dared to question the narrative, and she was almost freaking lynched. It was crazy. Crazy. Do you guys see what's going on here? Like, are you seeing how crazy this shit is getting? Okay, so every week now we have something happening on a college campus, and every single time it happens, it gets worse. So this is by far the worst that has been yet. Besides UC Berkeley, which was for a different reason. UC Berkeley actually erupted in actual violence where people were hurt and property was destroyed. This almost came to violence, but this is for a different reason. Okay, this is a bunch of, you know, whiny students talking about how their lives are being threatened. UC Berkeley was a bunch of whiny students talking about how they didn't like a speaker that was coming on campus, right? Let's keep watching, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of gems in here that we can talk about.
I read that email again. Everything that was pretty much described in that email was 100% wrong. And it was, you better just say that you're sorry and yeah, you lied.
Okay, you better just say that you're sorry and that you lied. Here's the thing, every single time, and I somewhere in this highlight reel is going to be a video of all of the students in the president's office where there was pretty much one way in and one way out. So effectively, he was being held hostage. Seriously, I mean, they wouldn't let him leave. They were saying anything he had to say was no. You have nothing to say. You can only listen. There is no room for questions. There is no room for debate. It does not matter if we're wrong. What matters is how we feel, even if how we feel is bullshit. Okay? It doesn't matter if our lives are actually in danger. It matters if we feel that our lives in danger. And because I'm black and you're white, you are not allowed to question my feelings. And because I have certain feelings that you are not allowed to question, I'm going to tell you that now you have to fucking spend all of this money and resources on giving me and my fellow students what we want and meeting all of our demands, and you have to take money away from other programs in the school, and I don't even give a fuck if you have to increase the next generation's tuition, but you're going to give me what I want now. Or else I'm going to stop spending my parents' money at this school. You know what? I'll take back that last part because I'm pretty sure this school is not like a Yale or a Harvard where they're spending their parents' money. You know.
Asking you one more time, I'm giving you a chance. Was the information in that email factual? Yes or no? No. Yes or no? Thank you. No, it was not factual.
Protect us. But no, they fear from us. They fear of us trying to mace us in the eyes and shit. For what? For us saying like, hey, Brett, you need to apologize? For one fucking white guy? Is there any black folks that need water in here?
Any black folks? Are there any black folks that need water in here? Did you see what that water buffalo just said? Are there any black folks that need water in here? Moving on.
Black women and femmes doing all this emotional labor in this space. These white-ass faculty members need to be holding him and him
Oh my
and
God.
all these people accountable. We don't need to be doing all things.
Okay, that was actually the first time I ever saw that clip. Nothing to say about that. Moving on. I mean, they just lob all of these fifth grade insults at whatever is the closest white person or person that disagrees with them. Right? They just lob these little fifth grade insults at them. Everyone starts laughing, and then they say, give us this and give us that or get out.
Has demonstrated anti-blackness in the pigeon-holding
You can't read, that's why you go to fucking Evergreen State.
Of two black trans disabled students based on false racially charged allegations.
They're talking to the president of the fucking college that they're at. The president of a state college who allowed this to go on. The only person in this entire fucking situation who needs to resign from their job or be fired is this fucking little bitch of a president. He cannot call himself a leader of students or a president or a leader of the faculty. This person needs to go.
You shut the fuck up. I think what's smart is not to tone these people. These people are angry, and so what matters is what they're saying, not how they're saying it.
Oh my God. Okay, I can't watch any more of this, so we're just gonna move on, okay? So this shit is crazy. Crazy. Now, I think it's kind of hilarious, all right, that that every time, no, that's not hilarious, it's sad, it's frustrating. So I have like a certain It's probably a fucking sickness, to be honest with you, where I'm just always engulfed in stuff like this. Okay, I'm always on YouTube. I'm always on the news. I'm always on all of these websites with articles and everything, where I'm just always constantly, I just bury myself in this kind of shit, right? Because I always have to know what's going on. It's a constant cycle of thing. It's podcasts. It's listening to the radio. It's reading articles. It's this. It's everything. Okay? It is everything. And I'm sorry, 1 second. I just had to type a message to somebody. We have a caller calling in a few minutes that I'm going to be calling in a few minutes. So I just had to let them know that we were on. Go to that link now. So, I'm sure that a lot of people just can't stand being around me because I'm always talking about this kind of stuff. It's really had kind of a effect on my social life, to be honest with you. And I'm telling my friends, hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Look, this is happening. This is happening everywhere, all over the place. Shit like this is happening, and they say, no, you're wrong, you're crazy, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I wouldn't believe me either if I didn't see this and if I wasn't completely buried in this shit. Okay. What? All right, so I wouldn't believe it either if I was just hearing this shit, because it does sound so ridiculous and it is so far-fetched. But just listen to me. People, listen to me. This is happening, and it's only going to get worse. And this shit, all of these fucking little pansy-ass students that are just being pushed through the world when they are not good enough to compete in the real world, these people cannot compete with any of us. They do not have the balls to compete in the real world, and they're going to be pushed through, just pushed through, because nobody can be left behind now, because everybody has to be treated the same, no matter what, no matter how much you want to fuck up your own life, no matter how much you want to slack off, no matter how much you want to just fucking fuck off and be an idiot, you still are going to end up in the same place as the person that worked their ass off and didn't fuck around at all and just worked as hard as they could. You're still going to be pushed to that same place, or even worse, that person that worked for it is going to be held back. And that's what's been happening, and that's what's going to continue to happen if we don't fucking just stop this shit. Now, how do we stop it? I don't know. I don't have the answers. But it starts with admitting that this stuff is happening and that it's an issue, and that it's a serious issue. Everywhere this is happening. And it's not only about racist stuff, okay? It's about sexist stuff. It's about homophobic and transphobic and everything being offensive and everybody having to be treated special and everybody having this and having that and needed fucking handouts and all this shit. No matter how much hard you try or how little you try, you have to end up in the same place. Equality of outcome is the biggest bullshit that is existing today, right now. I have to take a breath. I didn't take a breath that whole time. Is that everything I wanted to say about Evergreen State College? Should we just check out that new video that I just saw? Should we do that? Is everyone tired of talking about this? We've been on this for 30 minutes already. Let's see.
It's racist.
If one believes otherwise, we should come to the provost in person and discuss it.
So that is Professor Weinstein.
By the chief of police, I can't be on campus, and yet the provost...
All right. I don't know what's in this video, so I'm not just going to start putting you guys through it right now. But moving on. Moving on to the next story of the day, which is Kathy Griffin. Henry Grullon, by the way, just messaged me. Henry Grullon, who is a friend of the show, who's an independent journalist. I'm going to be calling him in a minute. Henry, after I get through these next two topics, you are up next, okay? So I will be calling you on Skype. This is the second time Henry's calling into the show. Stick around. He has a lot of great stuff to say. So, Henry, if you're listening right now, I will be calling you after I talk about the next topic I have to talk about after this, which will be quick because I don't have a lot to say about either of these. Kathy Griffin, who probably, if you're under, 30, you have no idea who she is because she was a D-list celebrity. She's probably been an F-list celebrity for the last few years. She's done nothing. She's done absolutely nothing. She's. Do you ever see like the tampon commercials or some shit? Like she'll pop up in some fucking like AT&T commercial or like 9X, like something that doesn't exist anymore. She's like the really annoying fucking cunt in the commercials. That's Kathy Griffin. The redhead with the plastic surgery looking face. That's Kathy Griffin. She's the most funny person that there is. I think she was on Seinfeld a couple times. She made a couple cameos on a couple other shows as like the annoying, ugly redhead. So Kathy Griffin did a photo shoot where she decapitated President Trump. I think that's the most direct way to put it, right? So there's pictures of her, and you know what? Let's just let's see if we have them. Let's see if we have these videos, if we have these pictures. Images. Here we go. Boom. Kathy Griffin doing a photo shoot where she, took pictures of her, like, cutting off Donald Trump's head with a big, serious face. Oh, my God, look what I just did. So this is, I think this is Carrot Top got a sex change operation. Actually, I don't know if that's Kathy Griffin. Have we confirmed that this is actually Kathy Griffin? Or did Carrot Top fucking become a transgender person? Yeah, so this is all pictures of Kathy Griffin. Oh, God, she's gross. And I feel like she actually used to be pretty. Look at this. So anyway, so this is Kathy Griffin chopping off Donald Trump's head. I captioned this. There was blood coming out of his eyes, blood coming out of his wherever. Oh, so there she is talking about, when Trump said the thing when he was at the debate about Megyn Kelly, blood coming out of her wherever, So she did this photo shoot and she came under fire for it. And interesting because now we see where the line is on the left, right? Because she's being abandoned by her own side, which are regressive leftists and Hollywood and other F-list celebrities. So she's being completely abandoned by these people, and they've kind of just turned their backs on her and said, whoa, this is not cool, Kathy Griffin. You're trying too hard now. This is not cool. This is bad. This is, and there's been rumors, I just heard, Secret Service was kind of investigating this thing and everything. I think that's a little overboard. I don't know if this would actually be a real threat. Now, funny thing is, funnily enough, I don't think this is that bad, to be honest with you. I mean, it's fucking gross, but the things that we allow to see are just are allowed to happen nowadays. Is this really that much worse than a lot of other things? Is it in poor taste? Yes. I wouldn't have guessed that this is where the line was. If I just saw this on a magazine cover without the headline that it was the worst thing that anyone has ever done all year, I would have been like, oh, that's nice, and I would have walked on. I would have I wouldn't have thought it was funny. I would have said, oh, that's in poor taste, and I would have kind of kept going. But when I was exposed to this picture, it was under the headline of this being a terrible act of disrespect towards our president, and even no matter if you don't like him, he's not your president, whatever, he's still a person and he still has a family and everything. To be honest with you, I didn't even think of that. Now, none of this is to say that she shouldn't be allowed to do this, right? We have freedom of speech, we have freedom to do whatever the hell we want. This is America, and we can take pictures of us chopping off the president's fake head if we want, and we can post them all over the place. That does not mean, though, that we have freedom from consequences, right? Just as much as Kathy Griffin has the freedom to pose with a fake Trump head, which, you know what, if you didn't tell me that was fucking Donald Trump, I wouldn't have known, by the way. Like, if I just saw that picture, I would have said, oh, that's a nice, David Hasselhoff prop or something. I have no idea. Or Zach Morris. I don't know. It's really not recognizable as Donald Trump to me. But, just as much as she has the freedom to take pictures like this and post them everywhere, we have the freedom to have a problem with it and to say, well, you know what, now, fuck you, Kathy Griffin. Now you're going down onto the Z list and your career is over. And that has what's been happening. I think there was like a casino somewhere where she was supposed to perform that already canceled her performance. And, you know, now she's going to feel it. You know, I mean, she's already like living in a trailer or something. Now she's going to live in her fucking station wagon. I don't know how this woman makes money. I mean, she literally is famous for being an annoying, ugly bitch. You know? I mean, like the Kardashians, but ugly. And then she actually has been on stage before. You know, you can't compare her to the Kardashians. That was wrong of me. I'm sorry, Kathy, for comparing you to the Kardashians. Yeah, so it's in poor taste, but you know what's funny too? The funny thing is that now we see like the double standard of, the standard of behavior from both sides, right? Like for the left, for leftists and Hollywood people and all that and liberals, like this was the line. This is how far somebody had to go before they turned their backs on them and said, "Whoa, that's not cool, Kathy. Like that's not cool. Like this is what it took." Do you see how far this line is? Now, if this was a right-wing comedian, okay, a Republican or something, and they got on stage, all they would have to do is say that they support the president, and they would be boycotted and banned from every venue in the country. So this is how far you can go when you're a liberal. This is leftist privilege. This is how far you can go. This is where the new line is. And if you are a Republican or somebody who is a supporter of President Trump or something like that, you're just by being a supporter of the fucking president, you already have passed the line 50 yards back. Once you just admit that you're a Republican and you're in Hollywood, you're done. So I have a message from somebody that I'm going to read out loud. I'm not going to say who it is, though, and I think they just kind of outed themselves because this is up on the screen. Let's see. She might have just reminded me of something. What about the disrespect to people like Daniel Pearl? Daniel Pearl. He was a reporter that was beheaded. We still have those images burned in our brains. This is a complete lack of sensitivity towards other Americans mourning the loss of their loved one. Absolutely, I agree. Yes, you're right. I didn't even know. By the way, person who sent me this message, if you want to put it up on the chat room on the YouTube channel, it's right next to the video that you're watching on the YouTube channel. There is a box for a chat room. You if you just go to the right of the screen, it says live chat. Jen already gave us a shout out. Right there, it says say something. See, I'll say something right now. Hey everyone, get your asses in the chat room. Boom, asses in. That's how it goes. See that? Everyone see how the chat works? I can't believe I'm teaching people how to do technology. This is crazy. Hell has frozen over. So you're absolutely right. For Americans and other people who have had their heads chopped off by ISIS, I didn't even think about that. No gimmicks. Skype in if you want, bro. If you're listening right now, yes, Skype in real quick if you have something to say. Let me just message this guy back. I didn't even think about that. Good point. Great point, actually. It's insensitive. I doubt that that's where they were going with it. I seriously doubt that she was even thinking that far, saying, "Hey, you know what? Let's make a photo shoot look like I'm an ISIS, fighter that just chopped off someone's head." I doubt that she was going there. I think it was just for the shock value of, I want to chop off the president's head, and everyone's going to think I'm cool for it. So I seriously doubt that she was even thinking that. But yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. But this just in, by the way, this was posted just an hour ago and I can't believe I'm going to do this, Huffington Post. I got to give it to you. I am going to reference an article from Huffington Post right now in a non-ironic, non-smart-ass way. For those of you who don't know, and I'll post this up right now, for those of you who don't know, Kathy Griffin was employed by CNN. past tense, Kathy Griffin was just fired by CNN over this thing. Now, it's funny how she wasn't like fired before everyone heard about it. She was fired after the get out of here. What is that? She was fired after the entire world lost their collective shit and kind of called for this to happen, right? Because everybody was being called out about how, oh my God, all Sean Hannity did was say that, Sean Hannity, all he had to do was say that, Jesus Christ, what was his name? I just blanked on it. The guy that he was trying to say that the Clintons had him murdered. It's been in the news a lot recently. Anyway, all he had to do was say, you know what, all he had to do is his journalistic duty and kind of say, I'm going to look into this further and see if the Clintons maybe had something to do with this, because this looks fishy. And he lost advertisers. He was ostracized. He was just ridiculed and everything. Okay? And then Kathy Griffin can do something like this, and it's fucking crickets from CNN and the people and MSNBC and the people that kind of like employ her and that are on her side, right? We just hear crickets. So finally, this is starting to happen over there. She just got shit canned by CNN. So this is a tweet from CNN Communications. CNN has terminated an agreement with Kathy Griffin to appear on our New Year's Eve program. CNN has decided to end its decade-long relation. Is that one word? Decade-long? Relationship with Kathy Griffin as a result of a comedian's controversial photo shoot in which she held a prop that resembled the bloody head of President Donald Trump. I don't need to go through this whole thing because you guys already know that, oh my God, there is a video. We have to watch this.
Hey everybody, it's me, Kathy Griffin.
Oh, you're disgusting.
I sincerely apologize. I am just now seeing the reaction of these images. I'm
Too
a
late.
comic. I crossed the line. I moved the line, then I cross it. I went way too far. The image is too disturbing. I understand how it offends people. It wasn't funny. I get it. I've made a lot of mistakes in my career. I will continue. I asked your forgiveness, taking down the image, going to ask the photographer to take down the image, and I begged for your forgiveness. I went too far. I made a mistake, and I was wrong.
I almost want to watch that again. I love this. We're exploring this together. If you're watching this with me, this is the first time I'm seeing this. I stumbled upon this article right now. It showed up on my news feed, and I just saw this video for the first time. This is hilarious. First of all, I don't know what this is. I don't know. Is this a puppet? Is this a Kathy Griffin puppet? That does not look like a person. And this is hilarious. For the first time in recent memory, as far as I can remember, we have a leftist comedian, well, quote-unquote comedian, having to apologize and with fucking come to the camera with her tail between her legs, begging for forgiveness, that she crossed the line. She moved the line and then crossed it. Oh, my God. This definitely has to go in, like, the fucking spank bank or something, right? For like poetic justice, I guess. I don't know. But this is like some crazy shit. Wow. I'm impressed. Obviously, I think when it comes to these things, the more you apologize, the more shit you get for it. So the more you're willing to like make up for it and apologize and deeply regret and blah, 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 and I'm sorry, the more people say, well, fuck you, now you have to give us this, this, and this, right? Now you have to give to the families of the people who were beheaded by ISIS and blah, blah, blah. Now you have to, and we're not going to forgive you until you do this. And she has no kind of bargaining power at all, this woman. She is a F-list celebrity now. She's on the Z-list. She had a show called My Life on the D-list. She celebrates being a D-list celebrity. And now she's just going to fade away into obscurity because now no one cares about her. I think this is hilarious, and I would like to see what happens with Kathy Griffin. Moving on. Moving on. How about some science? You guys want to talk about science? Do you guys like... Whoa! All right, hold on. We got a bunch of people in the chat room. You guys just screwed me up, man. Seth Rich. Thank you, Tara. Seth Rich. That's who I was talking about. Henry, man. No more molesting Anderson Cooper on his New Year's Eve show. So here's, to be honest with you, and my wife makes fun of me every time that I accidentally put on CNN. I have a fucking man crush on Anderson Cooper. Am I the only one out there? Am I the only one that has a man crush on Anderson Cooper? I want his fucking hair, first of all. I think that dude is fucking adorable. And I'm straight as a fucking arrow, too. All right? Just so you know. That's my confession of the day. Just between me and you, though. All right? Just between me and you. Yeah, she never apologized to the president herself. Good point, Tara. Never apologized to the president. She apologized to the U.S. people because now she's fucked. She'll be broke after this. All right. Wait, Jen, Whoopi Goldberg has been seen wearing a t-shirt of Trump blowing his brains out. Snoop Dogg shoots Trump in a music video. Yes, I totally forgot about that. And you hear crickets. Kind of funny. Her lame move put the left on the fence. Yes, absolutely. I forgot. Snoop Dogg had like Trump as a clown or something like that, right? And she shot him. I didn't know about the Whoopi Goldberg thing, though. Very interesting. Wow. Let's move on to some science, okay? Now, I hate to be the one to have to bring this up. Okay, I hate to be the one and Henry, as soon as I'm done with this next article, you're coming up, my brother. All right, so I hope you're listening. Now, I hate to be the one to have to bring this up, but if you have ever heard, there's kind of like there's been this internet meme floating around. I'm not sure how long it's been going on for, but I heard about it recently. I was like the idiot that had to like look it up on Urban Dictionary and shit. We was kingz. You ever heard that term? We was kingz. We was kingz. K-A-N-G-S. All right? We was kingz. Apparently, that is a thing that people say when they're talking about how the ancient Egyptians were black. That they were kings, right? They were kings. You know, black people used to be kings, and then they got turned into slaves, and they got turned into whatever after that. So back in the day, we used to be kings, and now look where we are now, right? We used to run the world. We used to do this. We used to do that. We did all these great things. Greatest civilization to ever exist was the ancient Egyptians. They built the pyramids. They did this. They did that. Blah blah blah. Whatever. New scientific, and I say again, scientific research has shown that, and I will put this up on the big screen so you guys can see it. Hold on, where are we at? Sorry to break it to you, but it looks as though we wasn't kings. DNA from ancient Egyptian mummies reveals their ancestry, okay? Now, this is the only reason why I'm bringing this up, and because first of all, is because I love science, and that's part of the thing that we talk about here: genetics, science, evolution, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, it's very interesting. Second is because we have this kind of thing where we're kind of always like going back in time to like change history and to make people feel good about stuff. We say like, oh, you know, well, they found out that Leonardo da Vinci was black or something. And it's like, no, he wasn't. That's ridiculous. Or, you know, Jesus was black, or these were black, or the pharaohs were black, or whatever you want to say. And I mean, it's just, these things need to be talked about when we find out the truth about them. So now there is evidence from, you know, genetic researchers and historians and Egyptologists that show that the ancient Egyptians, and this is from Washington Post, by the way, which is highly criticized for being like a leftist rag, right? So, I mean, if anybody was, you know, if the Washington Post is saying this, then you kind of know it's true, because it probably would take them a lot for them to admit something like this. That, you know what? Well, it seems as though the ancient Egyptians were closer to Europeans than they were to anyone else. So let's see. So ancient Egyptians were closely related to people who lived along the eastern Mediterranean. The analysis showed they also shared genetic material with residents of the Turkish peninsula at the time and Europe, meaning that they was kind of white. Maybe, you know, probably brown, probably what we see Middle Eastern people looking like now. But the idea that they were like black, which is, so here's the deal. When we're talking about genetics and everything and evolution, when sub-Saharan African, okay? Sub-Saharan Africa is like that classic African, black African. That's what they're talking about, okay? Those are two completely different worlds. Yes, it is all Africa, but they are separated by an enormous desert, okay? Meaning that organisms that evolve north of that desert might be different than or probably will evolve differently than organisms that evolve south of that desert. Okay? So there we go. So every time I say something about, evolution and how, the Egyptians and everything, and someone says, well, they're all African, so they're all black. No, they're not. That is not necessarily true all the time. So given Egypt's location at the intersection of Africa, Europe, and Asia, you see how Egypt is like all the way up to the top, kind of almost to the Middle East, right near Europe and all that stuff? And the influx of foreign rulers, Krauss said he was surprised at how stable the genetics seemed to be over this period. The scientists were particularly interested in the change in ruling class at the turn of the first millennium. First came the Hellenistic dynasty, and aftermath, and Alexander the Great, blah, 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 all that stuff. Long story short, look, you guys can read this article yourself. I'm obviously not going to read the whole thing. I have a bad habit of doing that, so I'm going to not. And just, this is something that should be talked about, right? So, yes, what you see in movies about ancient Egypt, barring having people with blonde hair and blue eyes and straight up, Aryans in it, were probably more not black looking. Sorry. I don't, this isn't to, hurt anyone's feelings. Sorry that it's, I don't know what to say about this, but that's just the way it is. It's science. Okay? Science is not biased. Science is not racist. Science is not sexist or homophobic. Science is based on facts and evidence, and that is it. So, part of the reason I'm talking about this is because we have this thing where when people have talked about how ancient Egyptians were black, right? There's a lot of Afrocentric people that I know, and I see them posting things on Facebook about very anti-Semitic, I'll say. So the same people that believe that ancient Egyptians were black, the same we was kings people, were the same people that were posting a lot of anti-Semitic stuff, saying that Jewish people are liars. Okay, they were saying there is no record in the Old Testament of Jews ever being in Egypt, right? They never said anything about the pyramids or anything like that. So therefore, Jews were never in Egypt. Therefore, Jews are liars, and they've been lying for thousands of years about being in Egypt. Now, why would somebody who believes that ancient Egyptians are black not want to believe that Jews were ever in Egypt? I can tell you exactly why. It is because Jews were enslaved in Egypt for 1,000 years or something like that. Right? Now, if you want to go by the biblical story, okay, until Moses rescued them and set them free. Okay? But Jews were enslaved by Egyptians for a very long time. Much, 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 much longer than Africans were enslaved in any Western country. So, to admit that Jews were in Egypt and that Egyptians were black would be to admit that blacks enslaved Jews thousands of years ago. Now, let's continue with the logical consistency, shall we? If we have a bunch of kids on this is going to tie it in so nicely to what we talked about before. If we have a bunch of college kids talking about how white people deserve for all of these things to happen to them because of slavery that happened a very, very, very long time ago, then would it not also stand to reason that we could also say that if black people in ancient Egypt enslaved Jews, that maybe hundreds or thousands of years down the line, that Jews could have said, well, now you deserve for this to happen to you. Now, I don't believe that, but I'm just saying, if we were following a chain of logical consistency that we like to fucking put certain people through, would that not make sense? Hence why I believe people who try to say that ancient Egyptians were black also do not believe that they were Jews in ancient Egypt. Moving on. Henry Grullon is coming up. We're going to take a very quick break, like literally 30 seconds. No, fuck it. We're staying right here. Henry, I'm calling you. Answer the phone. Let's do it. Answer, Henry. Come on.
Hello.
Henry Grullon, you are on the Rogue Millennial Podcast. How's it going, buddy?
How's it going, buddy?
My man, how am I sounding so far? Are you enjoying the show?
I'm enjoying this, and you are on fire, man.
Yeah, you think so?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do my little thing here, So what's happening? How's everything going over on your end?
It's going good. I was multitasking right now. Right now, the Latinos for Trump are on other pages right now. They're doing lives, and so many things are happening today, man. It's
like
exciting.
Right as we're speaking, right this second.
As we're speaking, yes. I'm on Facebook Live.
Okay. What's going on there? So just for those of you who don't know Henry is an independent journalist, correct?
Yes.
Henry belongs to an organization called Latinos for Trump. So in case you haven't realized yet, Henry Grullon is a Latino Trump supporter. He was on our show last time talking about the plight of being a Latino Trump supporter. And you attended because I know you wanted to talk about, you attended a protest last week, right? There was the Milo Yiannopoulos, who is a hero of mine, and I'm sure you love him too.
Yep, I do.
He did a protest over in Hell's Kitchen, right?
This protest was on 42nd Street and 3rd Avenue.
Oh, okay. I thought it was on 11th Avenue or something. All right.
No, this was it was multiple places that he was at, but the main protest that I was a part of, the one that was really being shown all over the place, is on 3rd Avenue and 4th. It's the office for CUNY, the CUNY offices. That's what it was.
Okay, cool. What kind of stuff was going on there?
It was intense. It was raining that day. It was cold, but still, we had about 300 to 350 protesters out there, and we had counter-protesters. We had Antifa out there. Police were out there in full alert mode because it was at least I counted about 80 NYPD. They kept everything under control, and when Milo came on, you could imagine how intense that got.
Oh, hell yeah. So what was the gist of the protest? 'Cause I know I wanted to go, and I remember they called it the March Against Terrorism or something like that. Am I right about that?
Yep.
So what was
I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
It was Linda Sarso. You could maybe tell your guests, your audience, who she is, or you want me to tell her, however you want.
Go ahead.
Everybody can know what exactly.
Yeah, Linda.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Linda Sarso is the queen of Shahira law, they call her. She is one that has been a sympathizer with ISIS, with Hamas. She's been one to really anti-Semitism. She's been one to speak against the state of Israel. She was arrested the last time I was at one of the protests, and outside of one of Trump's hotels in Manhattan, 59th Street, Columbus Circle, because she did not want to move. She was with 4 other individuals, and they were arrested for disorderly conduct, and that was that day. But the protest of last week was Pamela Gerler, I believe it is. I don't want to mess up her last name.
Mm-hmm.
She was the host. And she got together with Milo and a bunch of others, and they were just protesting because CUNY, a grad school, they invited her to speak at their commencement graduation this coming Thursday, June 1st. So we were saying that CUNY, being taxpayer dollars, being a public university, they don't invite Milo. They disinvited Milo. They disinvited so many other folks, and they invited her, and she's still on, as much as you can believe this.
Linda.
She's still on for June 1st. Yep, Linda Sarso is still on.
So they are a public college who's probably sort of liberal, right? I'm assuming.
Very.
Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar with the CUNY schools, but I thought maybe at best they were apolitical. But yeah, okay. So a very liberal school, who is probably large advocates for feminism, equality, pro-gay rights and all that stuff.
Yep, exactly.
They are going to have a commencement speaker who is in favor of female genital mutilation.
Yep.
Who is in
Thank
favor
you
of...
for reminding me that part.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Who is in favor of throwing gays off of roofs?
That's it.
And who is in favor of women being subservient to men and wearing hijabs and being able to be raped by your husband and all that kind of stuff, right?
There you go. You hit the nail right there.
Makes all the sense in the world.
Yep.
Makes all the sense in the world.
Oh,
What in the fuck is going on with these people?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Everything's happening so quick. I saw most of your show right now, and I heard about the evilness of Kathy Griffin, whatever her name is.
Yeah,
I use the word. The word is evil, man. I mean, there's no way you can describe her better than that. And this is happening so much, man. There's so many things happening on the news on a daily basis. Can you keep up with that, Scotty? Man, I don't know. I'm trying.
You know what? I can't. Every time I think, every time I see a thing, oh, this happened at a college campus, I go, oh, well, that I already read that. And then it ends up being, I read that yesterday. I read that this morning. It ends up being like a new story, right? And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is something different. And it's 10 times worse than the last one. I just when I recovered from the last one, and then this one comes up. It's crazy. Tell me about what it was like at the protest, though. Was it how was Antifa acting? Was it peaceful? Was it violent?
It was a difference. I got to tell you that me being an ex-NYPD officer, I'm very pro law enforcement and pro NYPD. And while I was out there, I did on my page, on multiple pages that I manage, I was able to put video coverage. And I got to tell you, the NYPD was fantastic. They maintained the crowd to be peaceful as much as possible, even though 3 people got arrested.
Mm-hmm.
I actually caught a live feed, which I'm going to put it in the next few days, of one of the Trump protesters who I know very well. He was literally, you could say almost attacked. One of the Antifa women, not dressed in all in black in a typical Antifa look. She was in the video. I was just recording the guys with a big American flag. And you see this woman, very suspicious, walk over to them and then grab his cap and kind of smack him in the head or something at the same time. And NYPD was on the scene undercover right there. They grabbed her, they arrested her at that moment, and she was one of the people that were arrested under the 3 of that day. But it was peaceful, man. I gotta tell you, it wasn't as bad.
And you said she was on which side?
She was the Antifa side against
against
Milo, against us.
Yeah, you know, these people think they have a license to commit violence. Right, because they in their heads they are justified because they're fighting against Nazis.
Exactly.
Right? They call people like us. They would call you, okay? I don't know if you guys can see Henry's picture up here. They would call this man a Nazi, a white supremacist. Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty brown, man.
Yeah, you're pretty brown, man. I mean, I can understand people calling me that, you know, but calling you a white supremacist Nazi is kind of far fetched, right? So these people believe that they have license to commit violent acts, which is, by the way, and I had this discussion, it was like a little Facebook debate I got into the other day. What Antifa is doing, but for those of you who don't know, Antifa is anti-fascists, okay? Is an semi-organized group. What they are doing is the textbook definition of terrorism. They are committing acts of violence and using the threat of greater violence in order to do things like overturn a completely fair democratic election, in order to enact political change, in order to scare people into doing what they want, in order to squash other people's, First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, whatever rights. And they're getting away with it. They're not being dealt with in the way that they should, because you have, and I'm sure you have experience with this if you're a police officer, sometimes you just have your hands tied, right? Sometimes you're just hobbled by politics and you just can't do anything about it.
Yep. I got to tell you, too, also that before the protests, I had a couple of shows and I was speaking to different folks, and I was worried myself as an ex-NYPD on how this would not have become another Berkeley because of Milo bringing so much controversy with these folks. And it didn't happen. I mean, it got intense. I got to tell you, it was pretty, I would say scary at moments. The crowds both were at each other's throats, and the cops really formed a wall. But this is New York City, man. This is not Berkeley out there.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that.
NYPD does not play that.
I was just about to say that. The one thing that we have going for us here is that even though we're being overrun by these, hipsters and these transplants and these leftists that are all probably Berkeley type people, the majority of us are still fucking New Yorkers. You know what I'm saying? So they're still in New York City. They still don't know where they're at, and they're still gonna get dealt with if they ever try to act out in public like that. You know, so I think they still kind of mind their neck a little more than they would if they were in a college campus or a place like Berkeley. So we have that.
No, I gotta tell you. But then on May Day, here in New
Yes.
York at
Okay.
Foley Square. It went crazy. I actually had video coverage.
Were you there
I
for
wasn't
that?
there. No, I was not there, but I got the coverage of a colleague, and I got to tell you that it got crazy. They attacked Trump supporters. They threw them to the ground. They were punching. There was tear gas. The police were there in the video. You could see it, but they were like they had to wait. I don't understand. You know, they had to. I thought they should have went in there quick to avoid anything worse. It could have gotten worse, but they stepped in and finally they got control of it. But it was crazy, Scott. It was crazy.
Yeah, because I remember I saw some things on the news about the whole May Day protest, but I don't remember it. I don't remember it being anything too crazy, like no physical violence. There were like vandalism and stuff, but I don't remember them showing any kind of physical, like people being hurt on the news.
I have coverage on that. That video was just, I mean, it was crazy and it wasn't bad. I mean, they did swing a little bit. A couple of people fell to the ground, and the police finally, it took them about, I think I counted it about 5 minutes it took them to get in there, and they were there. And it was about 4 or 5 of the NYPD, which is still enough because people are not crazy, like you said before. They see cops. People not only do not want to get arrested, but they don't want to get their butts whipped. So
hell yeah, right?
they kind of control themselves, man. They do.
All right. So what is I'm sure everyone out there is wondering about the organization Latinos for Trump. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Sure. Marco Gutierrez is the founder. He is a person that's been involved with the Trump movement and as a Latino for a while. He's out there in California, and he has formed this in a way that now he's reached out to me. I'm the one who's in one of the co-admins for New York and Massachusetts now. We're connecting. Right now we have Latinos for Trump California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, Massachusetts, and New York right now. We're being supported by many other states, man. It's a grassroots movement that we're just, it's not just Latinos, man. It's like all of the people that are Americans, love our country, respect, and love our president, man. We're going forward, man.
That's great, man. I think that's awesome. I love hearing about people that kind of go against the grain. Like I remember last time we were talking about the hardships and the things you have to go through being a Latino Trump supporter, like an open Latino Trump supporter, and being uninvited from Thanksgiving dinner and stuff like that. Which I think I think that's just ridiculous. I think that's sad and that's terrible. But I think it's great when I hear about a bunch of people who are completely going against everything they're expected to do and not giving a shit what anyone else thinks and just standing up for what they believe in and just doing it, right? Like, I mean, I've lost friends doing this. I have people that one of my friends that think I'm a racist and everything just because I talk about how I don't like welfare, which I don't understand how that is a race thing, but whatever, it's okay. If you're just gonna read the title of one of my videos and then just not even listen any further than that and just kind of come up with your own conclusion about me, then obviously you were never my friend to begin with, right? So it's totally fine. I'm okay with that. Puerto Rican Day Parade. Puerto Rican Day Parade. We got about 5 minutes, and then I got to get off here. Puerto Rican Day Parade is something we were talking about before when we were having a little chat on Facebook too, right? Okay. So this year's Puerto Rican Day Parade, they are honoring a terrorist.
Yep.
Right? There was the organizer FALN. Do you know what that stands for? FALN?
I don't know.
It was like a Puerto Rican independence or a liberation group or something like that.
Okay.
I remember hearing, and obviously I wasn't around in the 70s, but I think it was 70s or 80s. Wasn't there like a group of Puerto Ricans that like hijacked the Statue of Liberty and hung a Puerto Rican flag from the crown or something like that? Do you remember that happening?
Yeah, I'm a little older than you. I was born in 70, so I am not too familiar. It probably sounds a little bit familiar, but I was a kid. I was a little kid, so.
Okay, yeah, so I don't know if that was the same group, but the FALN, which are responsible for, Fuerzas Armadas de Liberación Nacional Puertorriqueña.
Wow, sounds interesting, that organization.
There we go. Fuerzas Armadas de Liberación Nacional Puertorriqueña. All right. So there we go. Yeah, so the Puerto Rican Liberation Force. So there was what was he, the leader of it or something?
I believe he was the leader.
Right, and they had bombed multiple places all over the country. One of them with police precincts, I think.
Yep.
And
I know one police plaza.
Yeah, one PP. They bombed one police plaza, killed some people, hurt some people, right? And this person was in prison for, I'm not sure how long his prison sentence was for, but he got commuted by President Obama before he left office.
Isn't that interesting, man?
Right. I mean, he commuted the the prison sentences of people who were like guilty of some egregious shit, man. Like,
Yeah.
that was kind of weird. I mean, the whole Chelsea Manning thing, I kind of get it, because depending on which way you look at it, you could consider him kind of like a hero, I guess, maybe. But somebody who's just responsible for murdering and killing people and bombing and being a terrorist, I don't know about that. But so he's being honored, right? He's the guest of honor for the Puerto Rican Day Parade this year.
And his name is Oscar Lopez Rivera.
There you go. Okay. And ever since they announced him as the guest of honor, a bunch of sponsors had pulled out of this, right? So you have
of them, yes.
Goya, which, how are you going to have a Puerto Rican Day Parade without Goya?
Exactly. How much Puerto
right?
Rican can you get?
Exactly. How are you going to have a Puerto Rican parade without Goya? They pulled out. Then you have, the Latino Police Association or something, whatever it's called, right?
Yep. The commissioner, the NYPD commissioner,
right.
He's not going to be in it. A bunch of other politicians. I mean, this is getting crazy. They're going to leave it without anybody marching. I mean, this is crazy.
Right. So pretty much any states or government, group of employees that has kind of some kind of Latino faction to them is not marching in the parade, right? Probably soldiers and Marines and people who are Latino that are coming home from New York that wanted to march the parade are not going to.
Exactly.
I've seen a lot of Marines marching in a parade before I went to the Puerto Rican parade. Last time I went to the parade, I was in high school. But yeah, there was a lot of soldiers and military people in there, and I'm sure they won't be there. But that's just crazy that they're honoring a terrorist, and it's okay. It's just fine with them.
I mean, Scotty, I got to tell you, what is this city? I mean, I've been in contact, like I said, with California, other states, and these are liberal states. We all have something in common. But New York City is such an embarrassment because not only do we have Linda Sarso, who is known with her ties, going to be speaking at a graduation at a taxpayer-paid university. Now we have a guy that was sentenced, a criminal, a terrorist, and he's marching in the Puerto Rican parade. I mean, what is happening with our city, man? I'm so embarrassed, man.
And we are the home of the worst terrorist attack on American soil.
Exactly.
And we're letting all of this shit happen here.
And don't forget about Sanctuary City. I mean, besides the other cities that are also liberal, I got to tell you that this is disgusting how all of this is like a domino effect for us, and we're just showing one thing after another. One quick thing, in Texas, I don't know if you've been seeing, SB4 is becoming a hotbed out there. You have politicians, you have people that are protesting against this ban on sanctuary cities from the governor of Texas. And this law, I think, is supposed to go into effect, I think is July 1st, I believe it is, or June 1st. I don't know which one is it. But it's becoming a hotbed, brother. A hotbed right now because he's banning sanctuary cities in the whole state.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you know what's funny, too, is like, whether you agree with what Trump said about the sanctuary cities or not, right? About how he's going to defund them, right? Defund the sanctuary cities.
Yep.
Whether you agree with that or not, you have to admit it is a great way to get done what he wants to get done, because whoever the mayor is of that city or whoever is in charge of making those decisions is stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? Because now they have to choose between either helping out illegal immigrants or helping out their own citizens of that city. So are they going to totally screw over their entire city just to help out a few people? And then their entire city is going to turn against them, and then they're going to be fucking looking like an asshole. And it's just... So, yes, as far as getting what you want done as the president, genius. Absolute genius move, because it is only going to make the mayors of these cities be hated by their people, by the people that they're trying to serve. So
let me tell you another thing. I was at, about 3 weeks ago, I was at a town hall meeting with Adriano Spalat. He is the first Dominican Latino to be in Congress in the history.
Mm-hmm.
And me being Dominican American myself, it's embarrassing. And when I was at this town hall meeting, a couple of his people kind of, I don't know, I think I look like a Trumpster, or I look like a Republican, because I didn't know any of them, but they took down the microphone when they saw me, because you know me, I was ready to jump up there to ask him questions. It's a town hall meeting. Now, the question I was asking him, besides so many, I asked him, and I had to write it down in a card, and he read it without me questioning him. The question was, he and a couple of other congressmen they're sponsoring a bill in Congress so they could limit ICE from entering courthouses and government buildings to protect, supposedly through sanctuary cities. I mean, and not only sanctuary cities, but in general, just putting out a law to limit ICE. He kind of answered it saying that he's for the immigrants, he's for against Trump. He spoke against Trump the whole town hall, in which he never let me, and I think I was the only Trump person there or the only Republican to speak out. So I don't know what to tell you, man. This is disgusting,
Wow.
man. He's a New Yorker, he's a congressman.
Government agencies not being allowed in a government building.
That's it. They co-sponsoring. Yep, that's what he put into.
Wow.
That's the law that him and a couple of others have put. It's not gonna get passed, obviously, but that's what he stands for.
Wow, I can't believe that. Well,
Yep.
Henry Grujong, thank you very much for joining me today. I much
All right,
appreciate
thanks a
you
lot,
calling
brother.
in.
I appreciate it.
And anytime you want, please, you're always welcome to call in. So thank
Same
you very
thing with
much.
you, man. Thank you on my show, man.
That's all
Thank
I got
you
for
so
today. I'm
much,
about to
man.
get
God
off
bless
here.
you and what you're doing in your efforts, brother.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later, bro.
All right, man. Take it easy, man. All right, bye-bye.
That was Henry Grujong, everybody. Good friend of the show. He does good stuff. You guys should check him out. Check him out on Facebook. I think he has a YouTube channel. I'm not sure yet. Ladies and gentlemen, this is time. I think it's time to say goodbye. I've been on here for longer than I planned today. We had some good things we talked about. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. I know I appreciate all of you hanging out. I have so much fun doing this. Just so you guys know. So thank you for anybody out there that was watching. Everybody who's in the chat room, I will personally thank each one of you for watching. Make sure you share this if you want. Check us out. This will be up on SoundCloud also. SoundCloud later. So go to soundcloud.com, The Rogue Millennials. Anywhere else. There's no Facebook page for now. For reasons I'm not going to get into right now, I had to take down the Facebook page, but there will be another one coming soon, so please look out for that. I might, just go ahead and friend request anybody that I know that is a listener on here. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday. It is time for me to go do... Oh, sorry, it's Wednesday. It's time for me to go do some things with my life. I will see you guys later. Thank you very much.